right, sounds good.
All right. Hello everybody, welcome to the TraderMerlin show. It is a new week, a new set, a new everything. I got new lights. I don't have my new camera set up yet, but I did move it, so hopefully I won't have too many mistakes on the show today. Now, as I saw Margaret posting there, happy Martin Luther King Day, everyone. Yes, happy Martin Luther King Day. I mean, it's kind of sad in a way. If you go all the way back to the I Have a Dream speech from 1963, you know, you look at what was said back then, and it was one of the best speeches ever. I listen to it every year. I listen to that one, and I've been to the mountaintop speech every Martin Luther King Day just to kind of remind myself of the struggle that has been going on for as long as I've been alive and much, much longer. And it's crazy to think that after 57 years after that speech, how far have we really come? It seems like we still have so much injustice, not just with one ethnicity, but with a lot of different ethnicities. So it reminds us that there's still plenty of room to move and improve as a culture, as a global community, as society. So happy Martin Luther King, everybody, King Day. On another sad note, some of you might know this gentleman right here. His name is Paul Michael Orm. Had the privilege of working with Paul Orm at Online Trading Academy for many years. I actually got to train him as an instructor at Online Trading Academy. He taught core strategy, he taught options, and is just one of the nicest, down-to-earth, just simple guys you'll ever want to meet in your life. And unfortunately, last week, near the tail end of last week, he passed away. So some of you might know Paul Orm. Just want to give a nice shout out to Paul. It's tough to see such good people disappear and go away, but fortunately, I had the opportunity to really get to know him, and he was just such a great person. So Paul, we'll miss you, and all the best on the other side. Now, let's stay on this side of things and not be so sad and gloomy. We are going to talk a little bit about Forex today. And, of course, we've got the ever-present David Warner talking about his Forex outlook for 2022. Here's David Warner. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man. It's good to be back.
Yeah, good to see you. I'm great, man. I'm loving that shirt there. I think I might have one very similar to that.
Maybe. Yeah, this is give a shout out to one of my students, Katut. She's gave me a couple of these shirts, and they're pretty cool. So she asked me to wear it on the show.
You know, I should be wearing. I didn't know you were going to wear yours. Otherwise, I probably would have worn mine as well. And yes, definitely. If anybody wants one of those shirts, I forgot the. I'll find the address out there for them because they're awesome. They're great shirts, and as you guys might remember, I posted a link one of the last times on my show, but I will show you more about I'll show you the link here later on. Cool, great shirt, and it looks good on you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, well, you know what? We should do like the what's it, Night of the Roxbury? When you come out to California, if I ever come out there, I'll bring that shirt, so we'll wear the exact same. We'll just do it.
Yeah. It sounds like a good idea.
Sounds like a plan. All right, let's jump into it, right? It is 2022. January's off to a volatile start. Who knows where the hell the end of the year is going to go. But all last year, actually the year before last, you were into the yen. Then all of a sudden you were like, British pound. It's all pound. Just go long pound everything. So It's 2022. Start us off with a cryptocurrency. I can drive and show my charts if you want, or not cryptocurrency, a currency. Sorry for the pun. Feel free to share your screen anytime you want. But what do you got? What do you got for us?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm still all about the pound. I'm still all about the Japanese yen. That will never ever change. But I think if I'm looking at kind of currencies of 2022, kind of all things sad. Obviously things seem to change so rapidly. But I guess I'll start with like a yen chart here. Hold on one second.
Do it. No problem.
So Bank of Japan actually has, they go into the kind of central bank policy meeting. It's a 2-day meeting that actually starts this evening. But if you kind of look at all of the major central banks, and as far as like kind of everyone's, trying to kind of come out of this pandemic and normalize things, the yen is probably going to be the kind of the laggard of the group. So the anticipation is that most of the currencies are, most likely probably going to make gains against the Japanese yen, this year. unless we see some crazy kind of market sell off or some type of flare up, Russia, Ukraine, whatever that is, that could cause kind of the markets to kind of move in the opposite direction. But this is but I think, most of the commodity currencies, especially the commodity currencies, they should probably all kind of make gains against the Japanese yen. CAD is probably the one that I know I'm going to have a lot of focus on it kind of going into 2022. I think, I think it's like kind of trading the dollar without kind of the dollar risk is the way that I'm kind of looking at it. But I think this and even this kind of the way that I'm kind of trading it as just kind of kind of have it marked out. I kind of call these like kind of big quarters. I'm looking at the markets 250 pips at a time. But using these price points to kind of execute new trades, and then really the way I'm looking at it now is like kind of only really attempt longs, and they kind of either kind of trade it, kind of one big quarter at a time, 250 pips at a time. So it'd be like 90 to 92.50. Once we get to 92.50, you got 92.50 to 95. It's a way to kind of look at it. You do it with like a 50 pip stop, and you got a 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio there.
Let me ask you this, since on that chart you got right there, 92.50 on that CAD yen, you can see that back into October you had that spike up to, and it broke 92.50. And I like that you mentioned, and I have my answer to this, but I'd like you to get your clarity for your explanation. You said, I'm only looking to buy longs. And I know there's a lot of people watching this right now that are going to look at that 92.50 mark and go, well, you got a red line there, and it was a major turning point. Why not short it at that level? I mean, there's got to be some opportunity there, right?
Yeah, maybe. But, even if I was, when I'm looking at it, you maybe kind of only look at it maybe a quarter at a time. A lot of this, this sell-off here was this whole anticipation of, we're going to move into some type of tapering, and we have a lot of Omicron and all sorts of stuff kind of into this. But I do think the path of least resistance is, as far as just kind of fundamentals are concerned, is that this should kind of march higher. And so if you kind of get over this 92.50, some people may looking at it as kind of a short opportunity. Right now I'm using it as a target. And so it's once it kind of gets there, it's going to kind of just kind of reassess it. But I personally, I have no problem buying things at highs or kind of new highs and things like that. Because I just, it's a pretty simple, system strategy that I kind of follow here. And it's if I only, it's only really buy. So if 92.50 doesn't hold, for example, I say I try to buy at 92.50 and it drops. Basically the plan is that the only buying opportunity I'm going to get is that it comes down to another red line, then I can try again, or it makes its way back up to 92.50 and then I'm trying it again. So really it's just a numbers game. Kind of around these price points, and if 92.50 kind of turns it around, and then I just try it again when it gets there again. But this is something that and I kind of play it this way for really any of these currencies, but this is it's the same price points. It's the same price points on kind of all of them. So it's you just change the pair, and it's the same exact kind of entry spots. And so it's go ahead.
And so in that, and I'm digging deeper in here, but it's on the CAD yen, it was a nice uptrend. You can see a nice clear one. Now you said it's exactly the same, but to me it's not, because if I look at this AUD JPY, you still have the same price points, but this chart in particular for the Aussie yen, it's just lots of chop, right? I don't see a distinct trend here. If I go back to all of 21 through today, it really hasn't had any great trend. It's had a lot of whipsaw. Whereas that other one, the CAD yen, had a nice uptrend, and therefore I agree with you. Buy the dips because it's trending upward. This one is not, at least from my perspective and my style, wouldn't be as easy to trade because I don't have the trend. And I from the sounds of it, it sounds like you are more of a trend trader, right? Go in the direction where the money's going.
Yeah, I obviously, I mean, to the best of my ability, I will say AUD JPY has been a little bit more of a difficult pair to trade. But all things considered, I just kind of, if I look at it for like 2022, I'm hoping that we can kind of break out of these ranges that we have been in. I feel like a lot of the ranges have been this like kind of like wait and see for kind of, it's all really, even though we're not even looking at a United States dollar, chart, I think it's all kind of wait and see what's the Fed going to do. And then kind of all of the central banks kind of react as well. So, I mean, the way that I look at it is that no matter any one of these, regardless of kind of like how it's kind of, even if it could be in the range, it's like no matter which one of these lines that it kind of gets to, I am still going to use it as a kind of more of a buying opportunity than a selling opportunity. So it's like, if something kind of, breaks lower, it just breaks lower. And then again, it just becomes like, I'm just always waiting for, whatever currency, especially the yen pairs, whatever kind of yen pairs are around those kind of big quarters like that.
You guys might remember we did a show with David a couple years back called the Yen Love Affair because David was all over that yen. Let's look at the British pound because the British pound's been an interesting one over the past few months, right? You've had this really kind of pronounced sell-off pretty much all of 2021. We went from 142 all the way down to 132, which is by no means the end of the world, but I tend to put myself in the camp of a trend trader. And if I'm going that trend for the last year, it's been down. And I know you're bullish. I know you're bullish in the pound. Has it changed?
No, on this one, I'm bullish on the pound, but not necessarily against the dollar. The dollar is really, honestly, I think the dollar's, there's a lot of people kind of talking the dollar down, but I feel like the dollar should start strengthening again. I think we could get it's just inflation's kind of running rampant. And then it's like, could there be some like kind of surprise, from the Fed? Will they have to raise interest rates faster than they've projected? This level that you're looking at right now, it just kind of, this was a level I had in a companion session. I do these online classes, and that 37.50 was actually a shorting spot. And I thought that this kind of this downtrend could maybe perhaps pick up again. So the dollar is really the it's like as far as like I love to buy anything against the Japanese yen, but I have a very hard time buying things against the dollar right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm in the camp that says the British pound the U.S. dollar is going to rise significantly, and just because
I think so too.
It's tough because you look at that Dixie chart, and I can bring it up over here real quick. I mean, you probably have it too, but look at that Dixie chart. Yeah, we did have a pretty aggressive sell-off over the last few days on it, but that trend looks strong. Higher highs, higher lows, and we've got some levels mapped out here. I'm eyeballing 100 on this thing, and if we keep tapering and pulling money out of the money supply, it's going to rise. And if they raise rates, that means that foreign countries are going to look for that carry trade for the U.S. It's the safe one. It's giving you better yield. So, we could see 2022 and 23 being kind of the bellwether year for the dollar, and that could have negative impacts on the market, which is one of the main reasons I'm overly bearish.
100%. I can agree with you on the dollar. I think the dollar, as I've been talking about it in classes and online classes, it's like I've had a very hard. Everyone's like, well, I'm trying to buy something against the dollar, and I'm just like, it's not really the side of the trade that I want to be on. The euro is actually the euro. I don't know if I've just pulled it up on my.
Yeah, I got you.
Chart, but the euro is one that. I've been, trying to keep an eye on. I think that, this is actually projected. I've been, I listen to so many podcasts now, and a lot of just trading podcasts and things like that. And there's a Bloomberg Intelligence analyst that was kind of talking about the euro, and like she laid out all of these reasons why like the euro, should go lower and be lower and things like that. I'm like, well, man, all of this, makes a ton of sense. But long story short, this is just another one that we didn't really get that shot to really kind of sell it at 115, but this is one that even the projections that she was calling out were kind of like below 108. And so it's just like
which makes sense because that trend was so strong. The trend was clearly to the downside there. It looked strong, and all of a sudden now we popped, and it's like, wait a minute, I might start to feel like a little reversal breakout here. So
but I just another one that I've been looking to go short on. But yeah, it's like I'll tell you, just the euro and like the pound specifically, I kind of thought that both of them are going to kind of get hammered against the dollar. I still think like the commodity currencies are still, I think, kind of projected to hold up a little bit more. I mean, but I really I don't know. It's like for kind of the purposes of like kind of coming on to your show, kind of mark these kind of bigger quarter prices because you're not really reacting off of as much stuff. But if I'm kind of like trading on the day to day, it's just like kind of moving the market kind of a penny at a time. So it's like, as soon as the market starts kicking off, it starts to drop. I could go like 14 to 13 or something like that. But if this thing continues to kind of rise, I would definitely use these kind of like a 115 would be a big selling spot, to me, and it's just like kind of trying to push it down.
Yeah, a whole number. I mean, we're pretty much there. I mean, granted, if you look at the demand zone from that previous sell-off in October, that's right around 115 and a quarter. So not quite on your whole number pieces. So, getting out or short at that point before might be the right thing to do. I got a question. I got two questions here. Number one, since you're on the euro, Harrison says, David, are you short the euro at 114?
I have a euro short on right now that I am short. I pretty much here at 114 because I took it last night. It was a little bit higher than this. And then obviously, I mean, the market hasn't really done anything today. But I would rather be short than long. There's fundamental reasons that I'd rather be short than long. But I do think that the dollar could start picking up. So
there you go.
And with all of these too, I think it's like it's going to be interesting what 2022 brings because I think it's going to be a year of surprises because I can't imagine this is going to be smooth sailing as all the central banks kind of move into kind of this raising interest rates environment.
Agreed. Margaret wants to know, says, does David use any correlations? So you mentioned talking about commodity currencies. Are there certain market correlations that you like to look at, whether that might be metals or oil or just other indexes?
I like to, I'm constantly, kind of listening to, like I mentioned, these podcasts. So you kind of you hear about the commodities and you do hear about, I always look at the stock market every single day. And it's like, if I see, oil and, commodities kind of to the rise, I'm just going to assume that commodity currencies are kind of, for the most part, making gains as well. And I use the stock market too. Like if the stock market's, having a good day, I typically look to buy, I feel more comfortable buying things against the Japanese yen. If the stock market's not having a good day, I'll feel more comfortable short-term selling things against the Japanese yen. But, no real direct correlations. It's more of kind of a, so like risk on, risk off environments. If the value of things are going up, I just assume it's more of kind of a risk-on environment, and things are going to go up against the Japanese yen, and vice versa. If value of things are dropping, I just use that as like kind of overall. I think that things are going to kind of drop against the Japanese yen. So it really always goes back to the Japanese yen on some level, I guess.
You must have a Japanese yen tattoo or something. You love that Japanese yen.
My back is just says pound yen across the back.
It's a giant Y.
Huge. Yeah, exactly.
Let's shift focus so we can maybe move away from charts. I have some macro big picture item stuff for you. Things like, right now we're looking at an environment where the whole world is talking about inflation, and they're all kind of freaking out about inflation. Oh, the rates are rising, yada, yada, yada. And here's the U.S., which in September, the U.S. is pretty much saying, look, we might do 2 rate increases in 22. And then all of a sudden we get to December and, Jerome Powell puckers up a little bit like, oh, crap, we might have some serious issues here. I'm going to potentially do 3 raises in 2022. Now I'm hearing from other analysts 4 or 5. And it's like, okay, the spectrum is crazy. Bottom line is this. The U.S. hasn't raised yet because we're still kind of backed in the corner because of all the tapering. But the British pound has already started raising rates, right? They're like, here, hold my beer, America. We'll start it off for you. Let's start there because I think if it's not next week, it's 2 weeks down the road, the UK comes out with their rate announcement. What do you think is going to be happening there? Are we going to see kind of across the board now with central banks rising rates?
I think so. I think the pound, Canada, I think United States, I think a lot of just the commodity ones. That's why, like, when we kind of started to kind of talk, it started the whole conversation. It's just like, if you're kind of like looking for kind of a direction, just fundamentally, like even pairs like I get like CAD yen. So it's like, I'm not going to like chart ninja something or, any of these pairs and like try to catch the tops and bottoms, which I know a lot of people like to just try to play both the sides. But if I looked at like a yen chart and just said, okay, overall, even if I just, again, I don't know if I still have a screen or if you're looking at me, I don't know.
Oh, we've got you. I've got you now.
Okay. Yeah. So like if I went back to like the chart and just like kind of those big quarter prices and just say, okay, if I only try to like take one side of the trade, buy or sell, what side should I be on? I would just basically say pretty much anything against the Japanese yen, because all of the other central banks they're moving towards kind of normalizing their policy faster than that central bank would be.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, it's February 3rd is when the UK comes out. This week, actually, for the UK, you have a CPI number coming out, which would be interesting, and if you look at their chart, I won't need to look at it here, but on the Monday Morning Must-Knows I did for Online Trading Academy, everybody, you can see one of the segments is on the British pound and the inflation numbers. Their inflation, while it's not as high as it is in the US, the rate of acceleration is far steeper than what we're experiencing here in the U.S. So, you may see them make some aggressive moves, and it's kind of interesting because we're at a moment right now where if you're a Forex trader, you got to love this because this means volatility, right? And now you've got Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, the yen, not going to raise anything. They're just stuck at negative 0.1. But everybody else will be jockeying for position and kind of looking and seeing, what are you doing? Which makes it very exciting going forward.
Right. Yeah. So, because I think, a lot of these currencies have been stuck in kind of, unfortunately, a lot of them have been stuck in kind of ranges. Like we just looked at like AUD, JPY and Euro dollar, it had been, stuck in like 100 pip range pretty much for like 2 months. And it just makes it very boring. It makes it difficult to kind of trade those small range pairs. But I think, I think the breakouts are coming. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I do as well. Yes, so there's a question that came through here, and Glenn, I think you may have gotten it already, but I'll just give David some props here. He says, David, are you on Twitter? Well, before I tell you his Twitter handle, we've got Katut in here, and if you haven't noticed David's epic shirt right here, which I'm a fan, I've got one just like it. It's not just that it's this really cool kind of funky print, it's the quality of the materials. So I got to give a shout out to it's nice. Yeah. It's from, I wanted to find the name. So it's Cap Bali, CAPBALI on Twitter. That's where you get those from. There's all kinds of great stuff in there, but just great clothing. And again, Katut, thank you so much for that. I still have another shirt I need to wear, which I'll maybe wear that on Friday's show. Yeah. Now, to give you David Warner's Twitter feed, it's at Warner Dollar.
Right.
Warner. There you go. At Warner Dollar. There you go. And there you guys can see his crazy. I like the picture of the rocking out, doing some artwork on the chart back there.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's David Warner. What else do you see happening for 2022? I know it's so open-ended, but I mean, you are probably more than anybody I know entrenched in central banks and what they're doing, kind of the pulse. I mean, he's got autographed pictures of the Hulk, Wonder Woman, and Bernanke on his wall. It tells you about his priorities. What do you see that is noteworthy to you in 2022?
You know, I'm optimistic in 2022. I think overall, yeah, I still think the stock market. Yeah, I think we're gonna have. It's gonna be rocky, but I'm hoping that I'm hoping that it ends higher still. But I think the big thing will be commodities. The more I'm like kind of listening to it and about it, and kind of just kind of how it's all playing out. I think commodities are going to continue to kind of move to the upside. Oil has been obviously something that's been very kind of interesting to watch. I listened to a pretty interesting guy make a case for kind of like $80 is like a possible kind of like new oil floor, perhaps, but like, and then it's just like, kind of looking at oil over $100 and everything again, and that's why I think like it's just as far as like a currency trade is concerned. That's why I think it's like I'm looking at a lot of these commodity currencies, AUD, NZD, and CAD. And kind of and it's like if I can get into an opportunity where I can buy it, I just feel like that's the more comfortable side of the trade, the trade to be on.
You say comfortable side, but I mean, you've got to have a point where you're like, there's got to be a pain point where you finally get out. Like there was a comment here from Alvin says, "Are you still using the oh crap stop? What are you doing for stop losses on these?"
No, yeah, Alan, that's funny. Yeah, so in class I used to talk about like you kind of have like a mental stop where it's like, okay, if a price closes below something, then I'll close it. Then I have like an oh crap stop, like, oh, it blew through my mental stop. Here's my oh crap stop. But I don't know. It's not. I've been on your show, kind of multiple times, and it's just like kind of all these different price points and. It's nothing has changed, and it's just like, it's just I've tried to create a bias and just say, listen, I'm only going to try to buy this pair, only try to sell this pair, only use these specific price points, and when it works, it works, and when it doesn't,
yeah, but you have to have an out. I mean, with the leverage and power of Forex. I mean, if you don't have a stop loss in place, I mean,
yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I thought you meant you.
No, okay, well, yeah.
Because I heard you say something like mental stop, and look, guys, a mental stop is like the rhythm method. It does not work. I am proof that the rhythm method doesn't work. I'm living proof.
Right. Yeah. So no. It would be like I always have a hard stop. So like, let's say even if I were using like 90 to 92.50 as an example. It's like you start at 90, your take profit's 92.50, and then you could have like I say 50 pip stop, and that's a hard stop. It's like it's like you can call it oh crap if you want to. It could be 50 pip stop, and if I get in at 90, you got to stop at 50. The idea is that if a daily candle closes below 90, you could close the trade out instead of it not getting to your 50. That's where that oh crap thing comes in. But it is a hard stop. Any one of these, it's just red line to red line. That's it. It's simple. And then it's just like you got 250 pips to take profit. It's always 250 pips in the example that I'm sharing on this show. And then it's just 50 pips, up to 50 pips around them. And that's it. And it's like you kind of go through, even if you kind of only talked about buys, because honestly, like I've been in this like kind of buy only mode pretty much since like March of 2020. So we kind of look at it for basically the entire pandemic so far. And if you only took buying opportunities the way you kind of look at it, you just ask yourself how many times is it going to take you to kind of connect them. Sometimes you get kind of stuck. You get stuck in some spots, but then sometimes it's just kind of smooth sailing. So yep. I'm hoping to get at least, I got like 2 quarters I'm working on right here, 87.50 to 90, 90 to 92.50, and then 92.50, it's take profit, and then it's kind of like reset. I don't think I probably won't chase the short, but if it kind of like, even if it dips and then kind of gets back to 92.50, I'll try to take the long again.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm with it. Well, there's one thing that I think a lot of people really appreciate about your style is there's this air of simplicity to it. But, I think that, for everybody that's watching this and going, oh, he's just got these simple lines. It's not that simple. I mean, yes, there are lines, but you have to craft your own strategy around it.
Yeah.
One thing I would encourage is, in a style like David's, is you take that as kind of a foundation, and you can modify these things. You can start to tweak it a little bit to fit your needs or what your trading style may be. So I think that's one of the benefits of Online Trading Academy anyways. The more classes you take, the more little styles and nuances and details you see for each one of these different instructors. I mean, guys, I do things very different in many respects than David does, or than, Brandon Wendell or some of these other, Larry Jacobson. We all have the same foundation, but our houses are built differently. So, you can look at the quote unquote trading architecture of each one of us and take it and make it work for you. That's the beauty of it.
100%. Yeah, I like it.
Let's see. Harrison says, what if Turkey gets worse? Could Turkey have a layman moment and send problems around the world?
Honestly, like I dabbled with the Turkish lira for a short period of time, and then I realized that was honestly, I don't know who sent that, but I would encourage that guy to proceed with that currency pair. The spreads, the volatility, it's very, very, very dangerous. Like we're talking like triple digit spreads around rollover.
Huge.
It's going to eat your lunch. So I typically just avoid it. Whatever's going on in Turkey is going on in Turkey. I try not to, I don't pay attention to any of it anymore. So, I started to trade it during like, it was like, during the Trump administration when he had his Twitter, and like he throws out this tweet where he just like, the way he likes, the way he talks, negotiated the biggest like peace deal.
The hugest. I think it was the hugest deal.
Hugest deal, Turkey peace deal anybody's ever seen. And I'm like, easy money.
Yeah. He did it over Thanksgiving too. Now, I actually have the chart here for everybody so you can see, just to give you an idea, like you should never be, and this is my jaded opinion, you should never be trading a Forex pair that moves 76% in 4 days, right? Just, especially some of you guys internationally, you get leverage of like 100 or 500 to 1. I mean, this isn't just that you lost all the money in your bank account. It moves so quickly. You're broke for the rest of your life paying off these margin calls. I mean, it's just insane. You should never be anything. And granted, before that, this Turkish lira was awful against the U.S. dollar, right? It was just getting crushed. You can do it the other way too, for those you want to know. USDTRY. Here is it looking from the other perspective. Like your US dollar, let's just put it into perspective. The US dollar on September 1st of last year, you could get 8 Turkish lira. By the time we hit December, you could get almost 18 and a half Turkish lira. I mean, that is an unbelievable. Go to Turkey for vacation. You're getting some great deals. Josh says, any favorite pairs? This is going to be interesting because Josh, you're a trader as well. David and I, we're both trade Forex, but I am very different than David. I'll let you field that one, David. What are your favorite pairs?
I mean, it's going to be pound. I mean, pound yen is like my pound yen back tattoo. Pound yen is always kind of a go-to. I love pound pairs just because pound pairs, when they want to move, they move fast. Mm-hmm. So they typically have wider ranges. So I always gravitate towards them. But I think the majority of my trades typically do have the Japanese yen in it. I just feel like can't really call any currency easy to trade, but that I typically have the easiest time. I feel like trading that one. Because a lot of that is, especially if you're only like, I know I've been using kind of these big quarter points to kind of, in the show here, but even if I'm just breaking up the market a penny at a time, and I just kind of try to get an overall feel for the day. Like, is this a day where the value of things are going up? Stock market good, commodity prices on the rise, whatever it is. And then I just find those currencies, especially against the Japanese yen. I just, a lot of it's just like, I don't know if you can see am I showing my screen?
I got you. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen.
Yep, got it.
So like this is my Forex factory scanner. Like honestly, this is like my trading platform because like I'm focusing on price points and momentum. And so it's like I try to find currencies that are kind of around pennies. So like this is like 14.06. That's almost a penny, like $1.14. This could be like almost 68 cents, like 67.92, almost 68. And, really it's just kind of, you kind of talked about trading the trend. I really just kind of live my life a lot of the times just a penny at a time, in just like these 48-hour intervals. So it's like, if it kind of gets around a penny, like say $1.14, which we talked about earlier, ideally I would love to see a bunch of red underneath this. And then it's just counting down 14 to 13, 68 to 67. And so, but the currencies that I always gravitate toward, like if you're going to trade kind of the penny to penny stuff, I just kind of focus on things against the dollar, things against the Japanese yen, but things against the Japanese yen are definitely my favorite. Definitely my favorite.
All right, cool. Let's see what other questions I have coming in here. Can David share his opinion on crypto? Margaret wants to know. You're not like immersed in it yet, are you?
No, listen, I've started to dabble in it a bit, but and the only one I've ever and it has been like kind of getting in and out, and Ethereum's the only one that I've actually kind of had any kind of play in. I don't know. Like it's honestly, I wish I got into it whenever you did, and years ago and kind of heard about it. But it's I would love to. I don't know. It still kind of moves probably a little bit kind of too fast for me.
Well, it definitely moves quick. David, you have access to all of OTA's crypto stuff. I don't know why you don't watch some of those. Join me in there. You're an instructor. You have access.
I know. But listen, I have no real, honestly, I don't really have an opinion kind of either way. It's just I haven't really jumped into it like you have yet. Well, I stick to the money I know.
There you go. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, you've got a system that's working for you, and I respect that. But you know what's funny, David? You probably get this as well as I do. You get these people all the time that are like, oh, well, you don't trade crypto? Well, then you must not be a trader. It's like, no, I trade what I trade. I don't have to trade every single thing that moves, I for one, am a little bit more, I guess, adventurous because I try to have my hands in everything. But I would say I'm not the master of any of them. I mean, I like to be good at everything. I try to.
Well, I mean, I meet a lot of new people that come into this, because I do kind of some of the introductory classes for Trading Academy, and it's like, a bunch of young guys, and they're like, so what do you do? And they're like, well, I trade crypto. I'm like, you trade it? I know you bought it. Have you ever sold it? Like, what do you mean you trade it? So that's the other thing is, it's like, it's just like they're the buy side, buy, cross fingers, hope it goes up. But I have this buddy that just, he's never traded anything before, old high school friend. I just talked to him a couple of days ago, and he's getting in the financial markets. Like, well, I'm like, well, and he's excited to tell me about it. I'm like, what'd you get into? And he's like, well, I got into crypto and I bought Shiba Inu and this
Don't get me started.
Yeah, there's some Algo or something. I don't know. Is that
Algorand? That one's good. That's good.
Okay, so he's got like those two, So it's like with Shiba Inu, I'm like, oh man. But I don't know. Like there's just so many of those coins, and like here's some like Shiba Inu, Zeldo Inu, like these things that are just like I just feel like they're
scams. They're absolutely scams. These are like the shitcoin pump and dumps, and the viewers know. Don't get me started on it because the Shiba Inu one is just like one of the biggest jokes ever. Offline, I'll call you and tell you, so you can call your friend up and make him feel like an idiot.
Right. All right.
Has he told you that it's going to $1?
Yeah, I have heard that from just too many people, man, and it's unbelievable. I had a guy in one of my classes just recently kind of jump on that when it was like 0.00000 like 4 or whatever. He's like, it's gonna go to $1.
Yeah, I have an easy one for you. So this is very simple. So there's 1 quadrillion Shiba Inu, right? 1 quadrillion, but apparently half have been burned. So there's 500 trillion of them. So David. Let me test your math skills. If there's 500 trillion Shiba Inu and it gets to $1, what's the market cap?
500 trillion?
Right. And what's the market cap of Apple?
Oh my God. Is it 3 now?
3.
Yeah.
3. So here's Apple, who has devices in every country. Almost every human being owns something of Apple, whether it's a watch, an iPod, or a MacBook Pro. It's everywhere in the world. Yet Shiba Inu is going to have a market capitalization of almost 200 times Apple. You're an idiot if you believe that. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, right.
Oh, anyway. So tell me about your schedule. What are your upcoming classes here? I'm sure you got some people here who might want to retake Forex or just start anew.
I actually am teaching some back-to-back classes out here in the New York area. I'll be in Long Island next week. And then the following week, I am in Brooklyn. And then really, I don't really have anything scheduled probably till March. I have a 3-day online class, signature class coming up in March. I just finished one in the last week. That's this whole kind of like this is price-based trading.
Yep.
Which I kind of got to bring up here, but just just kind of how to really kind of understand that and kind of build a strategy around price points. And then I do companion sessions every single week. I'm online for people that take that class. I actually have one tomorrow at 10 a.m. for people that has taken the signature class online. Mm-hmm. And we just look at these price points and try to figure out which direction it's going in.
Nice. For those who don't know, signature series are kind of where instructors can showcase their specific skill sets. Normally if you take core strategy or futures or Forex or options, there's structured content, which is, let's say here's the foundation for everything. The signature series is kind of where they say, I'm going to use that foundational stuff, but I'm also going to expand and show you how I'm building my house on top of that. So there's a few of those. There's Sean Reed has one, Bashir Chaya, David Warner, Bill Addis, who we've had on the show many times. Jeff Manson also has one. I don't have one, so don't ask. Maybe down the road, who knows? I'll do a signature series for him. But all right, man. Well, hey, thank you. What's that?
Cryptos, man.
Oh yeah. I'm starting to like. It's funny. I was introduced. I went out to dinner with some friends the other night, and he introduced his girlfriend. He says, "Oh, this is Merlin," and she goes, "Oh yeah, you're the guy who trades crypto." I'm like, I trade options and stocks and futures and Forex and real estate. Don't put me in this. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Yeah, right.
And by the way, I'll send my condolences for your Cowboys last night because my Niners.
Man, I was hoping you were going to bring it up, man. I thought we were going to get off.
Nope, you almost made it.
That was terrible. I did my because they just made sport gambling legal here in New York.
Oh boy!
I was like, I got my phone out and I'm like placing bets. I'm like, this is going to be easy money. Free money, here it comes.
Should have just bet me. I would have taken I'm a Niners fan. I take the opposite side of that one. Yeah. And by the way, I did see there was someone here who was in the room earlier. Linda Norms Medrano. Good to see you, Linda. But by the way, she's a Green Bay Packers fan. I might have to block you. I can't have Packers fans on this channel. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you probably should block that individual.
That'll be an evil one this weekend. All right. Well, hey, David, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on. Great shirt. Good to see you. You look so young without the beard on, my friend.
I know. Haircut, no beard. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to keep all of that until the coronavirus ended, but I would have looked like Jesus by the time it was over. So I had to get rid of it.
Well, you look good in a robe and sandals anyway, so.
That's true.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much. Go out and raise a beer and salute Paul Orm tonight, and I will see you later, my friend.
Definitely.
All right, take care.
Take care, buddy.
All right, guys, that was David Warner coming to us from New York. He's got classes in Long Island, Brooklyn. He's doing online stuff as well. So if you want to know more information, contact Online Trading Academy. That's where he teaches out of. And hopefully you can get some info on his different style, techniques. He also has signature series, all kinds of good stuff. Let's see. Joe asked this one, says, quick question. Do you think that Roundhill's Meta ETF is destined to tank proportionally to the NASDAQ? Just wondering if I should get out while I'm not too far in the red. Okay, obviously I can't give financial advice, but I have to look at the characteristics. For those who don't know, Meta, M-E-T-A, I'll bring up the chart here for you. Here is Meta. This is not the company Meta, this is the Meta ETF. So this was already taken when Microsoft decided to change their name. So if you look here, Meta, obviously lots of volatility, looking pretty ugly right now. This is mainly due to the big tank that's happened in technology. Now, the challenge for me on this one, Joe, is when you think of the term meta, it automatically makes me feel like, oh, these are the cryptocurrency technologies that are in the metaverse, right? No, these are just publicly traded companies. And right now, there aren't really any pure digital asset companies that are publicly traded. Yes, Coinbase might be considered, or Marathon Global, or Digital, and Mara, and those types of things. But there aren't any real, actual programs that are publicly traded that are metaverse, in the metaverse space, other than Facebook. So, first thing I'd want to look at to make that analysis is the chart looks like hell, looks awful. But what is actually making this up? Right now, there's this big belief that technology is going to continue to roll over and have some pretty big downside moves. So what I did is I went out here and I went to barchart.com. You simply type in the symbol you want to look at, which was Meta, M-E-T-A. I scrolled down and I clicked on constituents. And I mean, just read through the top here. It almost reads like the NASDAQ 100, does it not? Facebook, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Roblox, Unity, Snap, Taiwan Semiconductor. I mean, what does Taiwan Semiconductor have anything to do with the metaverse? It's weird to put them in there. Apple, Autodesk, Amazon. I mean, Amazon in the metaverse? Yeah, it's kind of a stretch. Qualcomm. So a lot of AMD, I mean, a lot of these are legitimate, just straight up NASDAQ 100. So I do think you'll see this fall, if the NASDAQ continues to slide, that this is going to suffer as well. Now, granted, I think there are a couple companies in here that will probably do very well. Obviously, I'm a big fan of NVIDIA, just, not just because of Larry, but just what they do. You look at ones here like Roblox or Unity. Unity, for me, is probably one of my favorite on this list because, A, it's one that most people don't know of yet. It's not in their portfolio, but Unity, one of the software that allows people to create a metaverse, right? It's a real easy program to use to get your metaverse up and running. So those are a couple of the ones that I think might help this index. But Facebook and all these others, I think if they tank, they're going to bring this down in a pretty big way. So they're very, very tied, is what I would say, Joe. They're very tied. Let's see. Big M says, go Cards. That's because you're in Arizona, right? I am actually cheering. This is horrible, but I hate to say it. I am cheering for the Rams because for some reason, the Niners beat the Rams with regularity. I don't know why it is. It's not like they're convincing wins, but bottom line is we win, yet we can't seem to beat Arizona. So I want the Rams to win tonight. Come on, Rams. Take out those Cardinals because we'll beat the Rams again after we take out Green Bay, and then it's off to the Super Bowl. Let's bring it up. Mark, I don't know about the answer to your question there. Why is CL trading on the H contract and the MCL is still trading on the G? Not sure. May have to do with closed market, and it just hasn't rolled over yet. Not quite sure. You want to know about MRO, Marathon? No, not MRO. It's MARA, M-A-R-A is what I meant to say, Chowski. M-A-R-A is the Marathon Digital Holdings, not MRO, which is Marathon Oil. A little bit different. As far as what to think with Marathon Oil, I mean, now is not the time to buy, but goodness gracious, what an amazing run this thing has had. I mean, it was you go back to 2020, this thing was down at $3, and now it's almost at 20. So just a fantastic move up in Marathon. If I look bigger picture here on Marathon Oil and go out to something like the weekly, the next stop you're going to have for Marathon is right around $24. So all in all, looking pretty good. All right, I know, Big Ab. Taking out Green Bay is going to be one hell of a task, especially because Fred Warner is hurt and Nick Bosa has a concussion. So if we don't have those two people, there's no way we're going to no way we'll beat Green Bay. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a surgeon out there. I hate him. And he loves beating the Niners because he wanted to play in San Francisco. He should have been drafted by the 49ers, but we took Alex Smith. Alex Smith, why did you take Alex Smith? Anyway, we won't make this a sports show. I'm not bummed to get to it. I've got some. I might go have a beer later on. It's a beer day to go watch the football game too. I'm cheered up. When something happens like this with Paul Orm, and for those who might be joining us late, Paul Orm, who's one of the Online Trading Academy instructors, a good friend of mine, he passed away last week, and the thing with me is when someone passes on, obviously it's very sad. You'll never get to see them again. But the good news is you had the time to experience and spend with that person and share part of this small time we have on the planet. Somebody mentioned to me once, said, when you're born, there's this definitive date. They put that on your tombstone. And then when you die, they put the other date on your tombstone. And that's the only thing that's reflected in your tombstone are the beginning date and the end dates. And everything that happened in whatever time frame it was, whether it was 10 years, 100 years, whatever that lifespan was, it's represented as a dash. And your entire life on your tombstone is that dash. So your goal is to make that dash as long and as wide as possible, fill it with experiences, meet new people, do good, especially on a day like today where it's remembrance for Martin Luther King, to remember somebody like Paul Orm and the good that we can do, the change that we can invoke for society and make it a better place. All right, I'm off a soapbox. Not running for political offices here, but trying to put a smile on our face and make it the best day that we can. So thank you guys so much. Tomorrow I'm going to have Justin Krebs on the program. Flipping things a little bit, we're going to be looking long-term investment. Justin is an advisor. He is just really, it's all about long-term, how we can grow our wealth bucket, things we can do to protect our portfolio, etc. So we will do that on tomorrow's show. If you have questions for Justin or myself, you can email me at tradermerlin@gmail.com and give me all those questions you want. Feedback as well. If you like the show, hit the thumbs up. Until then, happy trading, everybody. I will see you all mañana. Take care.